What's up, everybody? Welcome to another stream. I hope everyone is doing fine. I know, I've been gone for too damn long. I know I took an extra vacay. My bad, but I needed some time extra because, as you guys can see, I'm trying to change the brand and change things around here a little bit more. So, I mean, I've been having all kinds of technical issues right now. So, guys, bear with me because today's show is going to be amazing. I can guarantee you that it's going to be almost down to an hour. So, it's not going to be as long. And I also want to welcome, if you're watching the replay right now, welcome to Latin Explaining. I hope that you stay with us. Stay with me. Thank you for welcoming me into your devices and into your home as well. Stick to the video because today we're going to discuss from Neil Young's meltdown to the Puerto Rican fiscal crisis, Anuel AA's new girlfriend, and a lot of other things. But let's start with something more upbeat today. And I want to welcome, before I start everything, I want to welcome everybody that's new. I've noticed that there's a lot of people that started following me on my break. Thank you guys very much for all your messages, for all your feedback. I appreciate it more. If you guys think I should add more stuff, if you guys want me to touch on a subject that, you think it might be something that you want to hear my perspective on, then let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comments below this video. And also, you guys know that you can actually email me if you want me to touch a subject, if you want me to interview someone that you want to know about, anything that you want me to touch on. Make sure that you also email me if you don't follow me on social media. My email is down below right now. I'm also going to put it later on my description box. So welcome everybody. I see that I have MK, what's up, my beloved? I have Johnny Mills, my good friend. What's up? I hope everything has been good. This year has started amazing for you. I have Blood Moon. Thank you, Blood Moon, for showing up. What's up? She wants me to interview Lin Manuel Miranda. Well, you never know. You never know. I see that I have a new subscriber. Thank you, Alice Matt Films. Welcome to Latin Explaining with Denise. I see also that Jose is here, my cyber father. Welcome once again, guys. And I see that, you guys started the chat. Thank you very much. Let's start today's show with the classics. Today, we're going to touch on the Neil Young subject later on. I want to start with certain things that have happened in my beautiful island, Puerto Rico. You guys know that I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and that a lot of times, many things get uh, basically just swept under the rug. But right now in Puerto Rico, you guys know that there is a fiscal crisis because, unfortunately, under President Obama, we had an oversight board imposed on us to make sure that our government officials that are extremely corrupt do not spend money where they're not supposed to, because we are in debt for almost $150 billion. Yes, you heard me right, $150 billion. So, of course, President Obama imposed an oversight board and denied us the bankruptcy, the Chapter 9 that every other state, like the state of Florida, has the opportunity to apply for in order to just keep the state afloat, but start paying the debt in increments throughout the years. So basically, this oversight board has put Puerto Rico under austerity. And basically, a lot of different groups are now protesting, and the uprising in the island keeps growing and growing and growing every day. Today we had something that has been circulating lately, the all social media. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I posted also on my Instagram, but it's the teachers flu. You guys know that we have the something known as the blue flu. Well, now there is a teachers flu, and basically what this is doing is that is teachers were absent on Monday, January 31st, which was yesterday. They were absent today. They're going to show up tomorrow, but they're going to be absent Thursday and Friday. Why? You might ask yourself, why are they absent so many days? Well, I'll tell you why. Um, I see that Maceo is here. Welcome, Maceo. It's nice to have you here as well. Basically, Natalie Yaresco, this lady, I'm gonna show you guys. This lady, basically, the Department of Treasury in Puerto Rico requested the oversight board to increase the teacher's salary. The teacher's base salary in Puerto Rico, it's $1,700 a month. So they have not received an increase since 2002. That was an increase of $200. It went from $1,500 a month to $1,700 a month. Now, teachers are demanding that because in Puerto Rico, before COVID, before the lockdowns, before the inflation, Puerto Rico had an inflation of 7% of the living cost. Everything was more expensive. Nothing is being produced in the island, so everything is imported and has more taxes. Therefore, the inflation was 7%, not 3.5%, as was said previously. So they have been carrying all this cost out of their pocket with a salary that it's not basically livable wages. And many teachers have had to get loans or second jobs in order to carry on this hefty cost of living in the island. So basically, they were requesting through their federation raised to the Department of Treasury, and the Department of Treasury introduced a Bill 503, to the Oversight Board, demanding or requesting that teachers receive $1,000 increase in their salary, in their base salary. So it will be from 1,700 to 2,700. But this lady out here, Natalie Jaresco, said basically that it was not something that was I'm sorry, It was not consistent with the fiscal plan that they had for the island. Therefore, they will deny this increase. And if you think that this is some bullshit, let me tell you something. This is not the only group of people that are protesting. Tomorrow, I'm going to touch on more on the Puerto Rican fiscal crisis. We also have firefighters. Firefighters have not received an increase in their base salary. That is 1,500. They're literally risking their life for $1,500 a month, and they have not received an increase since 2001. So they're also demanding this. The police officers, in Puerto Rico, have also locked down many prisons in special occasions when it's like a weekend, like Christmas weekend. We saw it on Halloween, we saw it on Thanksgiving, because they're also demanding that these austerity measures be done, but in the legislators level. For example, in 2011, Puerto Rico voted to have just one specific group of people that will legislate and lobby all the laws, and that was the Senate. They wanted to eliminate the other chamber of the Capitolio, basically the lawmakers. They wanted to cut those down in order to, establish a little bit of austerity and start paying off the debt that we knew was coming, because we needed to pay what we borrowed. But unfortunately, that was never enforced, even though the majority of the people voted to have just one single chamber in the Senate to actually keep on making laws or amending laws and whatever, what have you. So basically, what they are doing is that they're choking the people. They raise the prices on tolls, they raise the prices on taxes, they raise the taxes on food, on goods, and everything else. They gave a tax haven to newcomers to Puerto Rico. And on top of that, they do not want to increase the salaries of anybody. And on top of that, they gave a measly $1.25 raise as the minimum wage in the island of Puerto Rico. So we went from $7.25 an hour as a minimum wage to $9 an hour. That is not enough. And you guys know I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I know this for a fact. 125 an hour more in all these years is not enough. Okay, so miss me with the BS. But basically, that is what's happening right now in the island. And like I said, tomorrow I'm going to bring more information regarding what's happening with firefighters and what is their crisis. But that's what teachers are doing right now. If they are playing with their livelihood, and let's not forget that teachers are teaching in schools that can collapse if there's another earthquake because they're not properly built. On top of that, teachers are teaching in schools. Literally 23% of the schools in Puerto Rico that remain open have asbestos. And they're teaching in those schools. And there's many teachers that are getting exposed to cancer. Many of them have had cancer. On top of that, many teachers that I personally know, because I come from a family of educators, have to put money from their own pocket to actually produce materials so the children can get educated. And then we ask ourselves, why? Why the people in Puerto Rico lacks the education that we need to stay competent within the times? This is why. Because there's no materials, the schools look like crap, we're not paying teachers anything. And all of our teachers, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a time, I think it was 2011. If there's Puerto Ricans here that remember this, I remember when the state of Texas lost a lot of teachers due to some BS they were doing down there. They didn't try to keep those teachers on. They went to Puerto Rico, did a job fair, and took a lot of our teachers because they promised them better wages and help until they settled down in the state of Texas. So a lot of our teachers left. And the ones that remain here are literally doomed to not receive any increase. Now, I see that Inquisitor is here and he says, my sister is right. They're robbing us. And not only that, they're taking the island from us. Absolutely. That's something I'm also going to touch on tomorrow in debt, Inquisitor. They are robbing left and right things in Puerto Rico. I see that Ramon says the cost of living in Puerto Rico is about the same as Mississippi. The cost of living, yeah, it's something I don't even know how people survive in Puerto Rico anymore, because the last time I was down there, things are not as they used to be. And even the way they used to be, it was kind of hard to make it. And I used to be there before Maria, before the earthquakes of 2020, and so on and so on. And even before the oversight board, I was in Puerto Rico and it was tough. So I see that Blood Moon also said PR should pay teachers a lot more than that. That's similar to what Dominicans make in DR American schools. Absolutely. That's what I would say. I heard someone saying, and I'm saying it too. There's going to come a point where, as Puerto Ricans, we're gonna have to ask ourselves, do we have a better chance with our American dollars moving into the DR and just making a living over there? You know, we will have a better life over there at this point. The way things are going, that's what I am seeing. Let's take our American dollars, buy us some nice property, and just get the hell out. They want to stay there, they can stay there. But I mean, we have to think about us. I see that Maceo says they took teachers and nurses. Absolutely. Do you remember, Maceo? That's basically what I am saying. There was a point where the state of Texas literally scooped up a lot of professionals, and even Florida did the same. So that's how we're losing all the professionals, because in Puerto Rico, nine people out of 10, out of every 10 people, nine of them have gone to college. So there's a lot of professionals, not a lot of jobs. um so basically, that's something that I wanted to touch on, guys. And moving from one crisis to the other, this let's start from the beginning, okay? Let's start from the beginning. You guys know that Chile has been for so many years a very a country with a very stable economy. Well, right now there is a crisis happening that people believe it's being done by Venezuela, but I will explain it. So stick with me, and also the ones that are watching on the replay, stick with me because I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. Okay. First of all, now, after COVID, you guys know that Argentina and Chile were hit very hard in their economy because a lot of companies left for many, many, many reasons. And it's because people are demanding that the rich elites, or the people that are more wealthy, pay more taxes. For many decades, Chileans, or I don't know how to say it in English, you guys know that I am bilingual. So I'm going to say Chileans or Chilenos and Argentinians have granted subsidies to people that are extremely wealthy in those countries, to the point that in Chile, a rich person pays 6% of taxes when in reality they should pay 35. But because they have so many subsidies and they're able to evade taxation, they're not contributing what they're supposed to. And there's millions and millions and millions of dollars that are lost and are not being able to be put into Chile's economy and Chile's infrastructure, simply because the rich are avoiding taxes and are hoarding wealth instead of just paying their fair share. And in the meantime, the middle class is being shrink and shrink and shrink to the point of asphyxiation because they are paying the 35%. So definitely it's just something that it's so insane. I see that Morena is here. Hey Morena, what's up? So definitely, as if that isn't enough, people in Chile have it so bad that because of what's happening in Venezuela, and I think I touched on that like months ago last year, I think summer last year. Do you guys remember when I was talking about what was going to happen with Venezuela's economy once the sanctions that the US imposed into Venezuela's oil, and then China united to that, adding $30 per barrel of oil? That's 90% of the commerce of Venezuela. So, of course, I said at the time, even though a lot of people said I was crazy, I said at the time, now Venezuela is going to start crippling from within because 90% of their money comes from the sales of oil. So when they get choked that way, what's going to happen? they're going to start fleeing violent. They're going to get violent. Violence is going to go up the roof, and they're going to start a different type of civil war, because that's what's going to happen. Well, as if I would have looked into the future, now people are fleeing Venezuela in droves, and they are going to places like Chile, Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador. And in Peru and Ecuador and Colombia, they have accepted a fair share of people. But Chile has been hit super hard with Venezuela simply because people need to leave, and they never imposed or never created avenues for people to migrate in a way that was more humanitarian to help the crisis that's happening to Venezuelans down there. So of course, when they're coming in now, they're being blamed from what's happening in Chile that's already in crisis. And I want to share with you guys something that happened. One of the incidents, because I've seen many, but the incidents that I have seen in Chile are very non-watcher friendly. So I'm not going to put them out here. This one, I'm going to warn you guys, viewer discretion advised, because this is a little bit graphic towards animals and whatnot. So if you're not supposed to watch this if you're under 18 or 21, depending on the area you're at. But if you are sensitive towards animals, do not watch this part because it's a little bit tough. So this is what happened just today in Venezuela, in Chile, I'm sorry. So basically, these are the incidents like this. I brought you this because it's one of the most PG videos I could find. But incidents like this are happening all across Chile, specifically in Puerto Varas. Puerto Varas used to be in the past, in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, the 2010s. It used to be a touristic destination that people love to go. It was such a beautiful city and whatnot. Now it has turned into a crime-ridden city, kind of like LA, that looks every day more and more like Gotham City, because incidents like that happen every 5 to 7 minutes because people are broke. There's no food, there's no money coming in, jobs are in a shortage, and people are getting choked. And on top of that, now you have all the immigrants from Venezuela, and they are the ones that are being blamed for all the crimes that are happening in Chile right now. And like I said, you can look it up yourself, because like I can't put this graphic material out here, but there's a lot of things happening and a lot of tensions happening down there in Chile right now, simply because of their economy. And you guys are not going to believe and I am not going to say that I don't have certain views that might be interpreted as socialistic or socialism and whatnot. There's things about socialism that are not bad, just like any other system. However, do you guys want to hear Maduro's excuse when people confronted him about the state of Venezuela and why enterprises and commerces don't work? He put the blame on someone, but it wasn't himself. I want you guys to listen to what Maduro had to say.
Muchas empresas antes socialistas que le entregué a algunos gobernadores en funciones y se le entregaron a amigotes, empresarios que las quebraron, lo sé, con nombre y apellido y dirección del Estado. Sé que quebraron empresas que se le entregaron a su custodia para su recuperación. Las quebraron. La indolencia, la corrupción, el abandono. No le tengamos miedo a reconocer donde ha habido un desastre.
That's basically what he said. He basically blamed the people that were that he believed that were governors and politicians that were pro-socialism. He handed them some enterprises so that they could manage them and bring them back up to the state they were under Chavez. And he said that basically these people were like wolves in sheep's clothing, and basically bankrupt these enterprises by giving them those enterprises to some of their friends under some corrupt moves. Now, my thing is, this is something that we have seen from politicians left and right. They love to shift blame. And like I said, there's good things about socialism that I think are positive, but there are things that are not good. And one of the things are that I've never seen a socialist country that takes responsibility for the mess ups they do. And this is just the example. Maduro right now is in a top spot. I don't agree necessarily that Venezuela should request anything from the US, but at what point anyone in Latin America is going to intervene with Maduro that has the military power to do so? Because right now people are starving, people are robbing. I've even posted some of the things that people are doing over there. They're resorting to crime simply because they can't take it anymore. They just can't take it anymore. And let's not forget that Maduro's right hand is being held in Florida in a maximum security facility. So to be honest with you, yeah, Jose, it's yeah, definitely passing the buck is not just a US thing. He literally is passing the buck on the responsibility because he doesn't want to admit that he bankrupted Venezuela. Because I remember Venezuela in the 90s. I remember Venezuela under Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez dies in 2013. This dude comes in, Venezuela goes to crap. If you agree with me, put a number one. If you think that Maduro was the best thing that happened to Venezuela and Venezuelans are just whining, then put a number two. But if you think that Maduro bankrupt Venezuela because he sucks as an administrator, put a number one. That's all I'm gonna say. And to be honest with you, I feel for the Chileans, I feel for the Venezuelans, and I feel for every South American because they don't seem to get a break right now. They don't, because what Maduro should have done is just find a way to make ally himself with people that will buy oil from him in the same volume, and also to find somebody that can back him up militarily so that he can protect Venezuelans. But did he do that? No, he was still busy killing Venezuelans and doing massacres and doing all the stuff that he was doing down there. Because can he actually keep Venezuela going? No. It seems to me that the only person that could do that in an effective way under socialism was Hugo Chavez. I don't care what people say. No ruler is perfect. Look at America. It's a democracy and it's not perfect. So regardless of how you feel about Hugo Chavez, Venezuela was once the jewel of South America. Today is the shame and the sadness of South America because of Nicolas Maduro. So that's all I have to say for South America. I am with you. Like I said, this is insane, and I'm deeply, deeply, deeply sorry. But the show must go on, guys. And like I said, if you agree with me, put a number one in the chat. If you disagree with me, put a number two. But I'm gonna continue now, guys. Let's keep it moving because we have something to discuss. And to discuss this, we have something very special to introduce because we have the snowflake of the day. You might ask yourself, who is this snowflake? Who is the snowflake of the day? Well, guys, look, it's raining snow out here because Neil Young, okay? If you guys don't know about the Neil Young drama with Joe Rogan, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm about to tell you what's going on. Well, in the past week and a half, we have had Neil Young made a threat to Spotify where he said, basically, I'm going to remove my music if you don't remove Joe Rogan from Spotify because he's spreading misinformation. You cannot have us both. You either have me or Joe Rogan. So basically, what Spotify did is that they basically did nothing. They just removed Neil Young's music from Spotify and remained with uh, Joe Rogan. Now, a lot of people have called for look at it, oh my god. He's like Joe Rogan is better than Neil Young. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's WTF news is part of what we're going to do out here. And today's WTF news, it's Neil. It has to go to Neil Young because, to be honest with you, it's something that I can't understand. So basically, going back to what we were talking about. So basically, what Spotify did is that Spotify decided to remove all the platform, basically Neil Young, because in their words, it's like we have a dude that has 11 million viewers per show, which is Joe Rogan, has more than CNN, MSNBC, Fox, everybody. And they're not going to stop having Joe Rogan so that they can have Neil Young, which is somebody that it doesn't have the same pool. I'm not taking anything from him, but it doesn't have the same pool um as Joe Rogan. But getting into the middle of this, one thing I'm going to say, we're going to go down the rabbit hole here because this is something that in Latin explaining, we don't just do the dishes, we also scrub the sink. Okay. So let's start from the very beginning. Neil Young. Neil Young claims that Joe Rogan spreads misinformation regarding a disease that's killing people. But I remember doing some digging because I'm going to bring the receipts. I remember when Neil Young also spread some of his misinformation regarding a virus. And I'm going to show you guys. Neil Young in 1989 said that he blamed homosexuals for AIDS. In an interview with Melody Maker in 1985, Neil Young backed Reagan's gun control policies and said of AIDS, you got to a supermarket and you see an F, I'm not going to say the word, you can read it because it's disrespectful, behind the effing cash register, you don't want him to handle your potatoes. Needless to say, Young almost certainly regrets that horrific statement and quickly moved away from right wing politics. Now, my thing is, Neil Young, do you think that Neil Young was spreading misinformation back then? Because that's how it seems. That's what he said about HIV. He literally blamed homosexuals for it, and you don't want your potatoes to be touched by them, as if you can contract HIV from that. But back then nobody could tell him anything because that's what he wanted to say. Back then Neil Young was the rebel. Back then Neil Young was the young one, the young Joe Rogan of his time. Now that he's an old fart, now he wants to dictate how things are done. But let's keep going down the rabbit hole because this gets even worse. And I can guarantee you that you're not going to believe the hypocrisy and how much of a freaking snowflake Neil Young really is. Now, Neil Young claims that his music basically is his. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not. Neil Young sold 50% of his songs copyrights to Hypnosis. He doesn't even own his music, but he's using it as a bargaining chip, as if we care about that more than we care about Joe Rogan's show. The Joe Rogan experience is Joe Rogan's, he owns his own stuff. But Neil Young only owns 50% of his songs. Now, he sold to this company called Hypnosis. And I know that a lot of you guys don't know what Hypnosis is, but basically, he said his third major acquisition of the week. Hypnosis songs have acquired 50% of Neil Young's worldwide copyright and income interest in his entire song catalog, which comprises 1,180 songs, including such hits as Only Love Can Break Your Heart, Helpless, blah, 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 and many others. So basically, he doesn't own his music. But let's continue down the rabbit hole and stick there because it's going to get good. Okay. It's going to get good. Now, Hypnosis has, you might ask yourself, what is this company and who they are aligned with? Well, Blackstone and Hypnosis Song Management launched 1 billion partnership to invest in songs recorded music IP and royalties. If you see the date, this happened in October 12th, 2021. I know you guys don't know who I'm talking about, but trust me, it gets better. We're going to get to the bottom of who the hell is Blackstone. Okay. Blackstone, according to who they are, is an American alternative investment management company based in New York City. In 2019, Blackstone converted from a publicly traded partnership into a C type corporation. Blackstone's private equity business has been one of the largest investors in leveraged buyouts in the last 3 decades. Now, let's continue down the rabbit hole. What Blackstone has done with their money. In 2019, the United Nations report found that Blackstone's massive purchasing of single family homes after the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008 had devastating consequences. Okay, let's stop right here. I don't know if you guys remember that in 2007, 2008, the real estate market crashed. Do you guys know who owned and bought all of those things, all of those homes that people had to walk away from and being foreclosed? Blackstone did. That's when the real estate market went back up, nobody could afford a freaking home. That's what they did. Now let's continue. Let's continue to go sit tight because it gets better. It says the report alleged that Blackstone had abused tenants with exorbitant fees, rent hikes, and aggressive eviction practices. And the Blackstone's real estate practices had a disproportionate impact of communities of color, in part because the company targeted foreclosures resulting from subprime loans. But somehow Neil Young has the time to talk crap about Joe Rogan spreading quote unquote misinformation, but this is the people he's caping for. Where is his energy for Blackstone? Crickets, right? But let's continue. Like I said, it's coming. It's coming because it doesn't stop there. We're going to see who these people are. In addition to that, it says the report also condemned Blackstone for using its significant resources and political leverage to undermine domestic laws and policies that will, in fact, improve access to adequate housing. You see the housing crisis that we have today, that people cannot find a cheap home in big cities or anywhere in the US. No one can afford a home with just a regular job. This is why. Now let's continue. Blackstone spent at least 6.2 million to defeat California's Proposition 10, which will have allowed cities to enact rent control. Blackstone is a member of the Real Estate Roundtable, a special interest group which spends millions on lobbying and political donations every year. So you see the hypocrisy of the snowflake, Neil Young. He has all of this energy thinking that Joe Rogan is ruining America somehow. Do you think that this is more, because in my opinion, is this more important? Is this ruining America, or is Joe Rogan ruining America? Because the last time I checked, people are not protesting Joe Rogan like this because Joe Rogan doesn't have a real impact in our lives other than entertaining people. But Neil Young has a problem with him, but it doesn't have a problem with someone that's messing up housing issues. He doesn't at all. I see that Radical says Denise is the in and out, the up and down. You don't get it. So let's continue because it gets even worse. If you think that Blackstone stopped here, they fucking didn't. Now, it says in separate cases in 2018 and 2019, the hotel chain Motel 6, owned by Blackstone, again, agreed to settle a total of $19.6 million for giving guest list to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, other words, ICE, without a warrant. That means if you were a person that came here illegally, they will give your information to ICE. without a warrant, without even being asked to. That's what Blackstone did. And now brace yourselves because it gets even worse than that. Now it says Warren. I don't know if you guys remember Elizabeth Warren when she was running as a Democratic candidate. She said back here in 2019, Warren says Blackstone is worsening climate change in a new private equity salvo. And I'm going to stop right here because I want to tell you guys, you might think that this thing is not directed anyway to us as Latinos. It freaking is. And I'm going to explain why. If you're a Latino, you're going to understand what I'm talking about in a second. Basically, what Elizabeth Warren is talking about is an issue that happened in South America. I think it was 2020. I'm gonna read about it. It says, given the immense global climate ramifications of deforestation in the Amazon rainforest, it is deeply troubling that US-based private equity firms like Blackstone have taken advantage of the weakening of Brazil's environmental safeguards through your investments in the logistics and resource extraction industries to boost short-term profits at the expense of our global climate and indigenous communities. Warren wrote in a letter to Blackstone CEO Stephen Schwarzman on Monday. Now, you might ask yourself, what the heck am I talking about? Well, there was a time where before everything happened to our indigenous people, Arawakan people were situated in the Amazons. That comprises Venezuela, Brazil, and some other countries in South America. Now, there is a remaining group of Arawakans, which actually Taínos stem from Arawakans down there in the south. They migrated from the Arawakan because we come from the Arawakan as well. There's only 10,000 people down there remaining on of that tribe that is basically our roots. You guys want to know what Blackstone is doing? I'll show you. Give me 1 second. I'll show you because apparently, this is a problem that Neil Young doesn't have a problem with Blackstone. He has a problem with Joe Rogan. But let's see.
A nossa Amazônia, nós faremos sim, mais do que o coração do Brasil. Seremos a alma econômica do nosso Brasil.
It's moving fast. It's not just a ground fire, it's reaching up into the canopy here too, and just scorching everything.
Não tem mais controle agora, só quando Deus manda chuva, que aí.
Is this usual amount of fire that you see?
Não, para mim não é normal. Para mim é um assassinato.
Are you worried about the illicit activity that happens here?
Aí é onde chama a terra sem lei, é nesse caso aí. Que a pessoa não pode fazer nada. Que é a lei do mais forte.
E queremos fazer o casamento do meio ambiente com o progresso.
Now, you guys saw basically what Blackstone is doing down there. And now, this is what brings me to my question. Do you guys think that Neil Young really cares about what he backs up? Because what's happening in our nation right now is that we have a bunch of snowflake people that are pro censorship. They're for pro censorship for what they are not a participant on. Because if you don't think that the lives of natives down there in their home that is being burned down by the people that he participates with and benefited from is not important, then I don't know what's important. Neil Young has a lot of issues with Joe Rogan, but I bet you my left eye that Joe Rogan doesn't partake in destroying the remaining indigenous people in the West. But somehow he claims that Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation. Joe Rogan is dangerous for America. Joe Rogan is so dangerous with what he's spreading. When Joe Rogan is literally sitting down with the doctor that created the mRNA technology. If you guys think that Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation, let's just do it like this. If you think that Joe Rogan is more dangerous than Neil Young, put a number 1 in the chat. If you think that Neil Young should shut the hell up and start using all the energy towards his bodies and his friends, put a number 2. Because this is the hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy that we see day to day with these people that are in this oligarchy. And like I said, I know it's a lot of information that you guys had to process. I see the Inquisitor put number 2, that you guys had to process out here. There's a lot of information, but if you look down the rabbit hole and you keep looking and looking and looking, look at Radical Latino keeps putting 2s. If you keep looking and looking, these people are he's participant in the benefits of the people that are destroying the remaining indigenous people. So this is where I'm coming from. You're literally having a meltdown over quote unquote misinformation, as if people cannot freaking read. Joe Rogan is a freaking comedian, for Christ's sake. You can simply, if you don't like it, you can simply just not listen to the Joe Rogan Experience. But that is more important than what's happening. And this is exactly what we have been fed all of this time. Because usually what they do is they dingle us with something while they're doing some messed up shit behind our eyes. I think Neil Young, it's to be held accountable for helping destroy America and funding and giving his songs and supporting with his music the people that have destroyed, in partially destroyed, not only America, but the West. Not only America, but also the West. Yeah, Inquisitor, live like it's 2019. Absolutely. We have said it many times. We need to start learning how to live with freaking COVID. We need to start living with COVID. It's not going to go anywhere. And if you don't like it, then you self-quarantine. You self-quarantine. And that's something that pisses me off. It's something that I cannot comprehend. But then when you put this stuff out, yeah, definitely. Alice Matt Films. Shut off CNN, MSNBC, and the fear-mongering stops. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can tell how people are flocked to this stupid-ass media that is telling you that this disease is going to kill you. This virus is going to kill you. I've said it many times. Less than 1% of the people that contract COVID-19 ends up in the hospital. That has been put out there. Even if you have the vaccination or you don't. But that's what Neil Young cares about. He doesn't care about housing prices. He doesn't care that you cannot afford a home. He doesn't care that people are suffering from rent increases up the ass. He doesn't care about our Watkins being ravished outside of the earth to never exist again. He doesn't care about the Amazonians. He doesn't care about the climate. He doesn't care about nature. He doesn't care about resources. He cares about Joe Rogan. That's what has come down to, guys. And that's something that I don't know if you're going to take it with a grain of salt. Look it up yourself. But it's time for us to start unplugging from the matrix and literally learning how to cope with one another with reality today. Because it's not going to go anywhere. COVID is not going to go anywhere, whether you are vaccinated or not. You know, the whole quote unquote misinformation is not necessarily coming from the independent media like us, because we're actually reading stuff. We know where it's coming from, but then we get blamed for it. We literally get blamed for it. Did you guys saw the stupidity that Sonia Sotomayor said about all the kids that are hospitalized and all this stuff? Did somebody came to deplatform her and remove her from the Supreme Court? Because if I do what she did, I will get deplatformed. But nobody is deplatforming this lady. Nobody. I see that Inquisitor says, I have put out videos on this and they always get stricken down. Yeah, absolutely. Everything, because if you don't, you have to do it with so many filters. And I've explained this even on Jose's platform. There was a time with the Telecommunications Act in the 90s under Bill Clinton, we were told that the reason why they were doing all that stuff was because we were going to have unlimited access to information without censorship with the internet. That's what we were told. And today that's been taken from us. That's what's happening. And people are doing anything. I see that Blood Moon says COVID is disappearing, laws aren't as strict. Yeah, I put it on my Instagram. London is already removing everything. Today they remove everything. I said that Inquisitor says quoting the CDC will get you banned. Yeah, even if you quote the CDC, and you have to say it that way. They don't care. That's what has happened and what has come down to, guys. But like I said, I want to keep this under an hour, guys. So I'm going to finish today. Tomorrow, I will bring you more information regarding Anuel AA's new girlfriend, because today I overextended myself a little bit with the Neil Young situation. Tomorrow, we're going to discuss in depth this whole new girlfriend drama. I know a lot of people don't care about it, but it's funny as hell. But to be honest with you, um, um, guys, tomorrow I'm bringing the Puerto Rican crisis, more news, more things to laugh about, more WTF news. And trust me, tomorrow we're going to go deeper and deeper into this. And as it comes, we're going to talk about it, because in here, like I said before, we don't just do the dishes, we also scrub the damn sink. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I know Jose has a stream after this, so make sure you go to Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. I will be there joining him, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 p.m. again here on Latin Explaining Daily News. Thank you for tuning in, and peace out.